Welcome back to the Think Changer. Allow me to share an uncomfortable truth. The demise of most aspirations isn't due to outright failure. It's often sparked by a simple glance at a glowing screen. Consider this. No one wakes up with the deliberate intention of sabotaging their future. Instead, the thought is, just a quick peek at that notification. And just like that, an hour vanishes. Your drive dissipates, and your ambitions are essentially paused. Time stands as the sole resource universally bestowed upon us. Whether wealthy or struggling, self-assured or uncertain, each of us is granted the same 24 hours. Yet some forge legacies while others construct elaborate reasons for inaction. The true differentiator isn't intellect, fortune, or even raw drive. It's how those seemingly insignificant, tedious, unnoticed moments, the ones others let slip away, are utilized. And here's the irony. Most individuals aren't squandering time on idleness. They're spending it on activities that merely appear productive. I'm conducting research. I'm getting ready. I'm mapping things out. I'm awaiting the opportune time. To perpetually await the perfect moment is akin to waiting at a bus stop for a service that will never arrive. You'll simply age in place. Here's a common absurdity. Many declare, "I have no time." Yet those same individuals manage to devour 3 seasons of a streaming series over a single weekend. Remarkable efficiency, wouldn't you agree? Allow me to pose a challenging question. If your last week were covertly filmed, no audio, just your movements, would the footage reveal someone actively crafting their future or expertly devising ways to pass the time? Understand this. The majority believes idleness means oversleeping, socializing excessively, or simply doing nothing. That's rudimentary time wasting. The true connoisseurs of wasted time appear constantly occupied, scrolling with intense focus, consuming how-to-succeed content instead of undertaking a single successful action, collecting inspiring quotes never to be revisited. The top tier, the 1%, are quite unassuming. They don't project busyness. They're not excessively vocal. Their digital footprint is minimal. They possess a quiet aversion to trivialities. They grasp a harsh reality early on. Your trajectory isn't shaped by monumental choices, but by what you permit daily. They refuse to tolerate unproductive gatherings. They shield themselves from draining individuals. They dismiss tasks that masquerade as urgent, but yield no real progress. And crucially, they don't allow themselves to be their own biggest time thief. Let's consider a straightforward illustration. 2 individuals conclude their workday at 7 p.m. Identical roles, equivalent compensation, similar challenges. Person A declares, "I'm exhausted. I've earned a break." 3 hours then vanish into endless scrolling, grievances, and social comparison. Person B, also fatigued, states, "Despite my tiredness, I'll tackle one small task. 30 minutes dedicated to skill development, 30 minutes nurturing an idea, 30 minutes immersed in a book rather than screen time." After 1 week, the impact is negligible. After a month, a subtle divergence appears. After a year, their lives begin to diverge significantly. After 5 years, they inhabit distinct realities. This is why the chasm often appears inexplicable. Others remark, "They're so fortunate." No, they simply maintained unwavering discipline when no one was observing. Even a figure like Warren Buffett, among the most engaged individuals globally, guards his time as if it were currency. His calendar appears remarkably sparse to the average observer. That's not idleness. It's astute strategy. Those constantly occupied manage chores. The elite manage their focus and vitality. Here's an insight rarely articulated. Your challenge isn't a lack of time, it's a surplus of diversions. Much of your weariness stems not from overwork, but from expending energy on countless trivialities. You respond to external communications immediately, yet postpone your personal aspirations indefinitely. You honor commitments made to others, but readily excuse your own premature abandonment of goals. Picture this. What if your future self could file a lawsuit against your present self? The accusation wouldn't be failure. It would be culpable neglect. My friends, consider Exhibit 1. 3 hours daily squandered on activities yielding zero benefit. The silence in that hypothetical courtroom would be deafening. The top performers operate with a different philosophy. They don't inquire, "What am I in the mood for?" Rather, they ponder, "What kind of individual am I cultivating today?" They understand a fundamental truth. Every moment you dissipate is a moment another is leveraging to surpass you. The world doesn't commend untapped ability. It celebrates demonstrable action. Your ascent isn't dictated by your peaks of inspiration. Your trajectory is determined by the floor of your ingrained routines. The distinguishing practice of the elite is straightforward, stark, and often unpleasant. They undertake crucial tasks even when they are monotonous and solitary. No soundtrack, no acclaim, no social media showcase, just incremental advancement. Here's a common misconception. People imagine the elite are consistently driven. They assume discipline is an inherent characteristic. They believe accomplished individuals always feel like engaging in the necessary work. This is false. The top tier doesn't depend on bursts of motivation. Instead, they make the act of not working feel unbearable. Consider this. You don't forget to brush your teeth. You don't deliberate over it. You don't await a surge of inspiration. You simply perform the action because it's an established routine. Now, envision applying that same systemic approach to your life's trajectory. This is precisely why athletes push through workouts on days they dread them. Why authors commit words to paper even when inspiration is absent. Why high achievers safeguard mundane routines. Consistency invariably trumps sporadic motivation. Take an example like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. While many cease practicing when fatigue sets in, he continued until his performance improved. Not more ostentatious, not more vocal, simply more proficient. He didn't question, "Am I in the mood today?" He inquired, "What does the pursuit of excellence demand of me today?" That solitary question alone distinguishes the top echelon. Let's apply this to everyday existence. You awaken, reach for your device. That one reflex subtly dictates the course of your entire day. Not because phones are inherently bad, but because focus is a valuable commodity. Once your attention is fragmented, the rest of your day tends to unravel. The elite grasp this profound insight. If an activity doesn't propel their objectives forward, it's either restricted, designated to a specific slot, or entirely eliminated. They don't wrestle with temptation. They construct environments to circumvent it. Just as you remove unhealthy snacks from view when aiming for better nutrition, you uninstall applications when seeking concentration. You decline requests more swiftly when striving for personal advancement. A widely recognized principle elucidates this perfectly. Most individuals overestimate their capacity within a week, yet severely underestimate their potential over 5 years. The top performers maintain a long-range perspective. They aren't swayed by instantaneous victories. Their fixation is on sustainable, recurring successes. Their question isn't, "What do I feel like today?" but rather, "If I consistently perform this action for years, what kind of individual will I evolve into?" Consider a common scenario. Someone aims for physical fitness. They binge-watch exercise tutorials, hoard workout plans, spend hours on research. Zero exertion, zero advancement. Another simply takes a daily walk. No elaborate strategy, no specialized equipment. A year later, one is still a passive observer of fitness content. The other embodies it. Action surpasses mere acquisition of information. The elite absorb less and enact more. They don't attempt to overhaul everything simultaneously. They reclaim a single hour, an hour that once evaporated, an hour that was formerly squandered, now dedicated to creation. That hour blossoms into a routine. That routine solidifies into an identity. That identity shapes an entire existence. This is the mechanism by which the disparity silently, relentlessly, and irreversibly widens. So, rather than asking how to instantaneously join the top echelon, inquire instead, which segment of my day is being hijacked, and what am I prepared to reclaim and protect? Because once you secure that hour, the trajectory of your entire life begins to realign. Friends, allow me to unveil a widespread pattern. Most people aren't idle. They're perpetually preparing to begin. You don't initiate the task. You merely scrutinize it. You don't engage in exercise. You consume fitness vlogs. You don't construct an enterprise. You absorb How I Earned $1 Million by 23 videos at 2 a.m., nestled in bed. And somehow, a semblance of productivity persists. This is the deception. You rationalize, I'm educating myself. In reality, you're merely being amused. Be candid. How many screenshots reside on your device labeled inspiration, startup concepts, crucial? Read later, you think, perhaps in another lifetime. You preserve them, feel momentarily intelligent, then never revisit them. This is the contemporary illusion of efficiency. Here's a stark illustration. An individual desires physical conditioning. They absorb articles, view transformation montages, archive exercise routines, deliberate over supplement brands, acquire athletic footwear never worn. Another simply walks. No curated soundtrack, no intricate regimen, just walking. 6 months hence, one possesses theoretical understanding, digital captures, and strong viewpoints. The other has tangible outcomes. Who, then, is sought for counsel? Not the one with the digital archive. Now let's address the most prevalent self-deception. I'm not prepared yet. Prepared for what, precisely? Do you imagine self-assurance will spontaneously materialize? Confidence isn't an awakening. It's a byproduct of consistent action. It is through doing that readiness emerges, not vice versa. Consider someone like Mr. Beast. He didn't launch his career with innate YouTube expertise. He uploaded subpar videos, then incrementally improved them, eventually producing excellent content. Most abandon efforts when they're imperfect. He persevered. Here's the fundamental reason people prefer absorption over accomplishment. Observing equals security. Acting equals vulnerability. You cannot fail by watching. You cannot be critiqued for planning. You cannot be humiliated by merely learning. Performance often wounds pride. Thus, many retreat into endless preparation, terming it patience. The elite embrace a remarkably straightforward approach. They cease asking, "What should I consume next?" and instead inquire, "What is the absolute smallest step I can take right now?" A single paragraph, a brief correspondence, one repetition, one try. No specific feeling or inclination necessary. And no, they aren't inherently more driven than you. They simply possess an inherent aversion to the sensation of intellectual superiority without accompanying tangible outcomes. Here's the transformative adjustment. 1 hour less absorbing, 1 hour more executing. It's that simple. There's no mandate to abandon social platforms. No requirement for extreme measures. Just cease concluding your days with a tally of 0 accomplishments. Friends, let us address the reality of off days, a topic frequently avoided. Everyone projects an image of unwavering daily discipline, a fabrication. The elite, too, experience unproductive periods. They awaken feeling drained, uninspired, questioning their entire endeavor. Occasionally, an entire day yields no significant output. The distinction? They don't succumb to despair. The majority falter once and instantly escalate into melodrama. I've ruined everything. My discipline is gone. I must reset on Monday. Next month is my grand return. Take a breath. You missed a single day, not your entire future. Here's the typical sequence. You skip a training session. You neglect a personal objective. You squander time. This is normal. But then you layer on self-reproach. Now you're not merely weary, you're profoundly dissatisfied with yourself. Consequently, the following day you shun the work, as it serves as a painful echo of yesterday's lapse. Abruptly, a single off day metastasized into an unproductive week. The top echelon avoids this trap. They view unproductive days like inclement weather. It's raining today. Fine. There's no existential crisis because of a downpour. They don't consult their emotional state. Instead, they ask, what's the absolute minimum I can manage to keep moving forward? Sometimes the response is 10 minutes, a single paragraph, one email, a tiny action. That's all. No frantic attempts to catch up, no self-inflicted penance, no impassioned pep talks in front of the mirror. Simply a seamless resumption. Consider a tangible illustration. The average person misses a single gym session and declares, "My entire week is now compromised." The top performer misses a session and calmly states, "All right, I'll be back tomorrow." That succinct declaration by itself redeems years of progress. An athlete like Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't execute flawlessly every single day because he feels exuberant. He trains because abstaining isn't a deliberate choice, it's merely a deferral. This is a crucial perspective. A single lapse is simply life. A second consecutive lapse establishes a dangerous trajectory. The elite are singularly focused on one principle, never allowing two consecutive breaks in their routine. One omission is permissible. Two in succession signals a critical vulnerability. That is the entire uncomplicated framework. And here lies the most liberating revelation. Extreme measures aren't requisite for triumph. What's essential is being difficult to halt. Not exceptionally zealous, not flawless, simply unyielding. For inherent ability wanes, inspiration fades, enthusiasm ebbs, yet the individual who imperfectly persists ultimately outmaneuvers the one who perfectly relinquishes. So when you stumble, and you inevitably will, don't attempt to reboot your entire existence. Merely resume the journey. This is how the most accomplished endure long enough to prevail. Friends, let's ground this in everyday reality. Not grand aspirations, not next year's resolutions, not a vague someday, but tomorrow. Many presume the elite possess an intricate, overarching blueprint for their lives. They don't. They operate with a select few inviolable commitments, things they don't debate. That's the extent of it. In practical terms, it manifests thus. They don't greet the day by questioning, "What am I inclined to do today?" Because emotions are notoriously fickle. They awaken with the firm understanding that this task will be completed. This allocated time is sacred. Everything else is secondary. No emotional impetus is necessary. Reflect on your routine for work or education. You don't typically awaken feeling invigorated. You don't engage in an hour-long internal debate. You simply attend because it's a pre-established commitment. The top tier applies this exact principle to a single personal pursuit, be it fitness, skill acquisition, a personal venture, ongoing learning, or well-being, just one, not a multitude. The error many make is attempting to overhaul their entire existence simultaneously. The elite identify one recurring action and allow sustained effort to accomplish the rest. Here's a highly actionable illustration. Aspiring to transform your life? Don't attempt to re-engineer your entire day. Instead, alter 1 hour, one ingrained practice, one automatic response. That's all. If nightly scrolling is your default, safeguard 30 minutes for something else. If your mornings vanish, reclaim the initial 20 minutes. If perpetual exhaustion plagues you, cease haggling with your sleep schedule. Modest, unremarkable, yet potent. This is the aspect rarely discussed. The elite don't necessarily perform more tasks. They commit to fewer actions with greater consistency. Less strategizing, fewer reboots, less discussion, more persistent iteration. And yes, they too have unproductive days. They simply don't permit a solitary misstep to spiral into an identity crisis. They don't declare, I have failed. They simply assert, all right, back at it tomorrow. That perspective alone saves decades. Here's the most universal insight. Your life won't be reshaped by a singular momentous choice. It will be transformed by your ingrained responses when exhaustion sets in. That is the authentic crucible. Not what you achieve on your best days, but what you consistently manage on your ordinary ones. Therefore, forego sweeping declarations of a renewed existence. Instead, forge a modest commitment. At this precise moment, I will undertake this task, even if imperfectly. Imperfect effort matters. Brief endeavors count. Simply appearing is significant. Flawlessness is irrelevant. If you can fulfill one modest pledge to yourself daily, genuine self-assurance begins to blossom. Not a superficial bravado, but a serene conviction. The kind derived from consistently honoring your word to yourself. This is the true genesis of distinction, not through grand pronouncements or rapid surges, but through an authentic, undeniable progression. So this evening, rather than contemplating joining the elite, simply determine, what is one minor commitment I will cease debating with myself? Decide it conclusively, then end the internal dialogue. That is the beginning. I appreciate your attention, and remember to engage and follow everyone. Thank you for listening. If this message woke something up inside of you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Think Changer for more content that empowers your journey. Remember, you hold the pen to your story. Write a great one. I will see you in the next video.